was a bad person. That person was evil. That was a bad person.
It was not a bad person. You just don't like good stories. Make it make sense.
So I just want to make sure I'm following the thought process here. So to be clear, a policy with the intent to begin to atone for the centuries of slavery, followed by the decades of explicitly legal discrimination, followed by the decades of systemically implicit discrimination, which prioritizes black people and communities with admission to prestigious and overwhelmingly white and or legacy colleges, that is now unconstitutional discrimination. On the flip side, I don't like gay marriage, so I should be able to deny service to a protected class of my hypothetical customer base because it's my sincerely held religious belief that LGBTQ plus people don't deserve to enjoy the same civil rights as the rest of us. That's now constitutionally protected discrimination? Definitely a sign of a good and cool country and not at all an extremely failed experiment.
I'll do you one better. I agree with him. You know, we had a whole conversation on the nuances of the decision, right? So, but the part that I would say is goes with what this gentleman was just saying. They said that we don't need affirmative action because affirmative action prioritizes black people. That's what it was about. It's about black people. That affirmative action prioritizes black people to the detriment of other people of color. Right? That's what they said. Why they want to get rid of it. And yet they didn't have a problem with keeping legacy admission. Now, to have legacy admissions to a lot of these elite schools, because it's really only going to affect your major Ivy League schools, because the rest of the schools, they do a good job of being diverse anyway. But, and religious schools, they got some issues, but whatever. Those are, you elect to go there. But Ivy League schools, to be legacy, you're overwhelmingly white and privileged. So you're saying that it's okay to discriminate on the basis of race so long as you do not use race when you're explaining how you're discriminating. Right? We're going to take the trappings of racism that made it so that legacy works for white people, but we're not going to say white people. We're just going to say legacy, because that just means you went to school here when only white people could go to school here. And then on the other hand, though, well, we got to stop letting black people begin the process of acquiring access to legacy, because other minority groups are not getting a chance to establish legacy, even though they are. It's wild. So wild.
I'll do you one better, Theus, because I didn't hear about the legacy thing. I did hear this one part. One of the things that one of the judges written. We're getting rid of affirmative action because schools should not choose their students because of their race. You knew that shit didn't make sense when you wrote it. It wasn't going to make sense when you read it. And you know it wasn't going to make sense when you read it out loud to everybody. That was the point. That was the point of it.
It's the same logic they use for getting rid of pre-clearance.
Is schools shouldn't choose their students over because of their race. You're absolutely right. They shouldn't, but they do. They did. And now you just gave them a pathway to do it again.
Oh shoot! I got
it's
one
the exact same logic. It's the same logic they use for pre-clearance. That's why they got rid of pre-clearance in the Voting Rights Act. Right? We're post-racism. Yes, racism still exists, but not like it did. No one's going to do that anymore. So we don't need to have this extra step for the states because of their history of disenfranchisement. And the moment they took that protection out, the Old South, same states started passing the laws, right? But go ahead, Tracy. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you have one better. This whole thing could have been avoided if we had stacked the courts with more liberal justices.
That's not necessarily true.
Hey,
I said we're more liberal.
Hey, Anna.
Yeah.
Anna,
Yeah.
I got a surprise for you.
Mm-hmm.